There are signals that clear up mysteries, signals that back up theories, and then there are signals that shatter everything we thought we understood. Signals that make scientists stop mid-sentence, stare at their monitors in total silence, and wonder whether humanity has just stepped over a boundary it was never meant to cross. Voyager 2, drifting alone in the cold vacuum for more than 46 years, has just sent one of those signals. What arrived through the deep space network this time was nothing like the usual plasma hums, solar echoes, or interstellar shocks we have picked up before. This signal carried patterns, structured and layered with rhythmic pulses buried inside the faintest whisper of radio energy that has traveled more than 12 billion miles through the void. And what makes it even more disturbing is this. This new signal came after Voyager 2 had already gone silent for 7 months, after NASA managed to realign the antenna against almost impossible odds, and after every instrument on board had been pushed far beyond its intended lifespan. The transmission arrived when Voyager should have been quiet. It came from a region where no spacecraft has ever remained stable. It came from a place where the influence of the sun collapses and the true environment of the galaxy begins. And the way the mission team speaks about it tells you everything. Voyager 2 did not simply send back data. It sent something that feels like a warning, a whisper, or a message from deep space itself. Tonight we will travel from the launch of the twin probes all the way to the moment this new signal reached Earth. And we will uncover why this one fragment of radio energy has left NASA terrified, fascinated, and unable to explain what Voyager 2 has actually encountered. Before we can make sense of the transmission, we have to understand the origin of the machine that sent it. And that story begins with an alignment so rare that it happens only once every 176 years. Back in 1965, when space exploration was still more of a dream than an established science, a graduate student named Gary Flandreau, armed with nothing but a pencil and an instinctive feel for orbital mechanics, stumbled onto a cosmic configuration that would reshape human history. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, the 4 giants of our solar system, were slowly drifting into a near-perfect gravitational staircase. It was a configuration that would allow a spacecraft to hop from one world to the next, using their gravity fields as celestial slingshots. This alignment would compress what should have been a 30-year journey into only 12. And when NASA realized what Flandreau had uncovered, the agency shifted its entire strategy and quietly began building 2 machines that would use this once-in-a-lifetime corridor to escape the solar system completely. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 were born from that cosmic window, designed to climb that gravitational ladder and reach worlds no human eyes had ever seen. But there was something no one truly grasped at the time. That same alignment placed the Voyager probes on trajectories that would eventually drive them deep into the interstellar medium, into regions where the sun's influence fades away, and only the raw environment of the galaxy remains. The very alignment that made the grand tour possible also made this mysterious transmission possible. Voyager 2 launched on August 20th, 1977. It was a modest-looking spacecraft wrapped in gold-colored insulation, powered by the heat of plutonium, and guided by computers that now have less memory than a basic digital watch. And yet it became one of the most accomplished explorers in the history of our species. It survived the radiation storms of Jupiter. It survived the ring system of Saturn. It crossed the eerie, frozen deserts of Uranus. And it became the only spacecraft in history to visit Neptune, flying past its deep sapphire atmosphere and watching the great dark spot swirl beneath blue methane clouds. Along the way, it discovered new moons, new rings, active volcanoes, nitrogen geysers, extreme winds, and puzzles that astrophysicists still struggle to fully explain. Then, as its cameras were shut down and its final images were stored on its aging tape recorder, Voyager 2 crossed the boundary where the solar system ends the heliopause and entered interstellar space. From that point on, it depended on the deep space network to whisper its signals across a distance so vast that it takes 18 hours for a single message from Voyager to reach Earth. But the story does not end there. As Voyager 2 drifted farther outward, its power supply began to fade. NASA shut off heaters, switched off instruments, and sacrificed non-essential systems one after another simply to keep the probe alive. Even with those sacrifices, in the year 2020, the spacecraft went silent for 7 months, disappearing into the void. And when NASA finally restored contact, Voyager 2 behaved in a way no one had anticipated. Its data streams were inconsistent. Its orientation had somehow corrected itself. And soon, the first strange anomalies began appearing in its measurements. Those same anomalies are now resurfacing inside the new transmission. Voyager 2 did more than visit planets. It revealed entire worlds that rewrote our understanding of science. When it reached Jupiter, it sent back images of swirling storms and iridescent clouds larger than Earth itself. It watched lightning erupt across Jovian nights, and its cameras recorded Io spewing volcanic fire, the first active volcanoes ever observed beyond Earth. Those discoveries alone could have defined Voyager's legacy. But the probe was not finished. At Saturn, it slipped through a gauntlet of icy particles, enduring impacts from ring debris traveling at thousands of miles per hour. It flew past Titan and detected an atmosphere thicker than Earth's, hinting at chemical mysteries that scientists still argue about today. Then it arrived at Uranus, the coldest and strangest of the giant planets. Voyager 2 found rings there as well, discovered 10 new moons, observed a tilted magnetic field, and caught a glimpse of a world that appears to have been knocked sideways by ancient cosmic violence. After that came Neptune, with winds screaming at 1,000 miles per hour, storms as large as continents, and Triton, a frozen moon erupting with nitrogen geysers 5 meters high. All of these encounters painted a picture of a solar system alive with violence and complexity. But they also taught NASA something else. The deeper you go, the stranger the physics becomes. Once Voyager 2 crossed the heliopause, everything, the spacecraft observed from plasma behavior to magnetic fields to particle density, started acting in ways scientists were not prepared for. And now, decades later, those same regions appear to be connected to this unexpected transmission. Before Voyager's cameras were turned off forever, Carl Shawn persuaded NASA to point Voyager 1 back toward home and capture a final portrait, a mosaic of the inner solar system seen from 3.8 billion miles away. One tiny frame in that mosaic contained our entire world, a faint speck hanging in a sunbeam so small it could easily be mistaken for a mote of dust. The pale blue dot, an image that transformed philosophy, astronomy, and our sense of human identity. After that moment, the Voyager cameras went dark. No more photographs, no more color, no more glimpses of alien landscapes. Only instruments, sensors, and radio signals remained. Data sent in binary across the immense silence of space. Voyager became blind, but it did not become mute. It kept drifting outward, sending back measurements of cosmic rays, magnetic fields, plasma density, and eventually the unmistakable signs that it had entered interstellar space. As the years passed, though, those reports became harder and harder to interpret. Instruments weakened, tape capacity shrank, errors increased. Manuals written in the 1970s became the mission team's only lifeline. And then, after nearly half a century of travel, Voyager 2 began transmitting something that defied every simple technical explanation: a repeating pattern, a faint, structured hum, and measurements that did not match any known behavior of interstellar plasma. At first it looked like a glitch, then it reappeared, then it grew stronger, until finally, in its most recent transmission, something entirely new emerged, something NASA cannot classify. After Voyager 2 passed Neptune and drifted into the cold beyond it, approached a region that scientists had theorized about for decades but had never directly measured the heliopause, the outermost limit of the sun's influence. This is the place where the solar wind, a steady flow of charged particles blowing outward from the sun, finally collapses under the pressure of the interstellar medium. In simple terms, it is the border between our cosmic backyard and everything outside it. Models predicted a smooth transition, a soft fade, a gentle trade between plasma flows, but that is not what Voyager 2 encountered. It found chaos. Pressure waves slammed into the spacecraft. Charged particles surged in unpredictable ways. Magnetic fields twisted violently in directions no one expected. The plasma density jumped by a factor that NASA had not believed possible. For the first time in history, humanity tasted the raw, unfiltered environment of interstellar space. But the most unsettling detail was this: the transition region did not behave the same way Voyager 1 had recorded years earlier. The boundary was thinner, sharper, more active, almost as though something had disturbed it, shifted it, or manipulated it since the first probe crossed. That asymmetry made no sense. And now, after the latest transmission, scientists are reconsidering a possibility they never wanted to voice openly. Voyager 2 may not have simply crossed a border. It may have crossed into something's territory. Once Voyager 2 officially left the heliosphere, it entered a realm of pure interstellar plasma material that has not interacted with the sun in billions of years. NASA had assumed it would be mostly quiet out there, a kind of cosmic emptiness. That assumption collapsed almost immediately. Voyager began picking up a hum, a constant low-frequency vibration echoing through the plasma. It was too steady to be random noise, too controlled to be ordinary turbulence. It pulsed. It rose and fell. It shifted in ways that hinted at an underlying rhythm, almost like a distant engine idling out in the dark. This was not the chaotic, unpredictable environment that scientists had expected. It was structured, layered, almost organized, like something humming beneath the floorboards of the cosmos. Voyager 2 was listening to something, and the farther it traveled into the void, the clearer that hum became. Over the years, its frequency drifted, changed, and responded to unknown variations. And now, inside the most recent transmission, that hum changed dramatically, as if something in the interstellar medium had suddenly awakened, moved, or reacted to Voyager's presence. In the year 2020, communication with Voyager 2 was lost. Not for minutes, not for hours, but for 7 long months. NASA officially attributed it to a misalignment of the Canberra dish in Australia, the only antenna capable of reaching the probe. But that explanation never fully satisfied the specialists on the mission, because when contact was finally restored, the data Voyager 2 sent back had changed. The magnetic field readings were different. The plasma density had shifted in unexpected ways. And even more unsettling, the spacecraft had slightly reoriented itself, correcting its antenna without any command from NASA. Here is the part that still troubles the team. Voyager 2 should no longer be able to autonomously correct its orientation. The systems designed for that have been degrading for decades. Yet somehow, during that blackout, Voyager held its trajectory and pointed back toward Earth with near-perfect accuracy. Shortly after full communication returned, the anomalies in the interstellar hum became much more pronounced. That 7-month gap now looks less like a simple communication failure and more like a period in which something interfered with, interrupted, or interacted with the probe. When Voyager 2 resumed steady contact, scientists began noticing something their models could not explain. The magnetic field lines around the spacecraft were not behaving the way interstellar medium simulations predicted. Instead of flowing smoothly, they bent gradually and then sharply, as though the craft were traveling through an invisible wake, the kind that forms behind a ship carving through the ocean. Natural magnetic waves do not produce that pattern. Plasma turbulence does not produce that pattern, but an object moving through space does. The distortions were too symmetrical, too clean, too smooth, and they persisted for too long to be dismissed as random noise. One engineer described it as if Voyager 2 had passed through the exhaust of something enormous. NASA avoided that wording in public, but inside the mission, the team acknowledged the possibility that Voyager 2 had crossed paths with something moving through interstellar space, something capable of disturbing magnetic field lines on a massive scale. Only now, with the newest transmission, has that possibility become impossible to ignore. Interstellar plasma is expected to behave like a chaotic ocean, unpredictable, stormy, constantly changing. Yet the plasma oscillations that Voyager 2 began detecting were anything but random. They surged in perfect intervals, repeating with such precision that they looked more like code than turbulence. At times, the oscillations seemed to synchronize with Voyager's engineering transmissions. At other times, they shifted frequency in response to the probe's routine pings. That should be impossible. Plasma is not supposed to respond to spacecraft communications in that way, but something did in the latest transmission. Those oscillations not only reappeared, they evolved, forming complex harmonics that had never been seen in any previous dataset. At least one of these harmonics matches the rhythm that Voyager 2 has been transmitting for decades, almost as if something had learned to echo the probe's heartbeat back to us. Voyager 2 is powered by radioactive decay, a steady and predictable process that weakens slightly every year. However, just before the most recent transmission, engineers noticed something bizarre, a temporary increase in transmission stability and consistency of power, almost as if the probe had received a boost or entered a region with reduced interference. That should not be possible. The radioisotope generators cannot increase their power output. The systems cannot grow more stable as they age. Yet, for a short window of time, Voyager behaved as though its fading heart had briefly surged. Some proposed that it passed into an area with reduced cosmic ray interference. Others suggested a temporary alignment of magnetic fields, but the timing is too precise to ignore. The stabilization lines up almost perfectly with the structured patterns inside the new transmission. Something stabilized Voyager 2. whether due to the environment or an external influence just before it sent the most mysterious signal in its entire mission. When the Deep Space Network finally received the first data packets of Voyager 2's, new transmission engineers expected the usual weak carrier tones, plasma readings, engineering logs, and temperature data. This time, the carrier tone was not weak. It was unusually stable, sharp, and controlled, almost as if something had helped strengthen the signal. Then, the data stream began showing anomalies, repeating sequences embedded within noise, timing intervals that did not match the spacecraft's standard telemetry cycle, frequency modulations that no one had ever seen from Voyager before. These anomalies were not random glitches, they were structured patterns. As the stream continued, several pulses arrived at precisely timed intervals that did not line up with either engineering routines or scientific sampling schedules. Something was modulating the transmission. Then NASA realized the most unsettling detail. Voyager 2 was not the source of every pulse. Some of them originated outside the spacecraft from somewhere in its immediate vicinity. Within the transmission, analysts found gaps, intentional silences spaced too precisely to be dismissed as random noise or malfunction. These silences acted like separators, dividing the pulses into clusters, almost like headers in a digital file. NASA analysts applied every compression and pattern recognition algorithm available, and the timing structure of these gaps looked far more like packet formatting than natural plasma behavior. Even more disturbing, the gaps repeated in a cycle, exactly every 3.2 minutes, the same cycle Voyager 2 uses when sending its engineering logs. Whatever was responding to Voyager understood Voyager's timing. It behaved as if it were mirroring the probe, speaking in the same rhythm Voyager itself uses, almost as though it were saying, "I see you." Scientists now suspect that these silences are not empty at all. They may be encoded pauses, waiting intervals, perhaps even requests. One of the first checks NASA makes on any unusual transmission is the Doppler shift, the tiny change in frequency caused by motion. When they ran that analysis on this signal, the result hit them like a wall. Not only did some pulses originate outside the spacecraft, they were moving smoothly, moving predictably. They were moving in ways that matched neither dust, nor rocks, nor plasma waves. Something with mass, significant mass, was relocating itself around Voyager 2. It was not drifting like loose debris. It was not tumbling like an asteroid. It was carrying out controlled, deliberate adjustments. At one point in the data stream, the Doppler shift changed rapidly, almost as if the object had executed a maneuver. That maneuver lined up with a magnetic field distortion that Voyager detected within the same minute. Something moved near the probe, and the probe recorded the wake of that movement. The deeper scientists dug into the transmission, the more correlations they uncovered. Plasma oscillations that matched Voyager's telemetry patterns, magnetic distortions that aligned with Doppler shifts, signal boosts that coincided with small thruster anomalies. Every piece of data pointed toward the same chilling conclusion. The probe was not alone. Something near Voyager 2 was interacting with its surroundings, responding to its transmissions, and moving with unmistakable intent. The closer researchers looked, the more they realized there was another layer to this story. These patterns had been building for months, perhaps even years, hidden inside the noise because no one was searching for them. The latest transmission was not the beginning. It was the reveal. In the last minute of the signal, the strangest sequence appeared. A set of modulations that matched Voyager's own outgoing signal almost perfectly, but with subtle differences, as if that signal had been echoed back with enhancements. It was not a reflection. It was not simple scattering. It was a reply. A reply shaped to resemble Voyager's own voice so closely that NASA's software initially classified it as coming from the probe itself, until human analysts stepped in. Those final pulses were too clean, too symmetrical, and too intentional to write off as noise. And they ended with one last silence, identical in length to the header silence that preceded each cluster. A beginning, a message, an ending, a complete structure. Something answered. When NASA lined up the engineering logs, the magnetic data, the plasma oscillations, the Doppler shifts, and the anomalous pulses along a single timeline, the mission team had to face a reality they had never truly planned for. Voyager 2 did not just send data. It sent evidence of contact, not with a planet, not with a comet, not with plasma, with an object that moved, an object that responded, an object that communicated in structured patterns. Something advanced enough to approach a 46-year-old machine traveling at 35,000 miles per hour and speak to it in its own rhythm. something waiting in the darkness between the stars, something we did not notice until it chose to reveal itself. The transmission is no longer just a mystery, it is a message, and now humanity has to decide what happens next. So now we have to ask what caused this transmission. Do we attempt to reach out again? Do we send another signal? Do we wait for a second reply? If this discovery shook you even a fraction as much as it shook the teams at NASA's Deep Space Network, do not fade quietly into the night. Subscribe, because whatever comes next could redefine our understanding of the cosmos. Like this video so that more people can grasp the weight of what has just happened. And tell me in the comments, do you believe this transmission was a greeting, a warning, or the beginning of something far larger than we are ready to face?